Hello, everybody. Welcome to another season of the Matt Report, brought to you by Cobus Insurance Center, your Grange independent agent. Obviously, a little bit different season than seasons past. Generally, this video is about what teams have done, what teams are about to do. But in this very strange year that we're having, this wrestling season is about 2 weeks old, and we've only had one team compete in one event. So you'll have to bear with us as we go week to week. We're going to try to find content for the wrestling fans out there. We're also going to be starting our favorite moves segment next year. That's sponsored by Century 21 Deanna Realty. They put your family first. We have not been able to do that yet because it's obviously just a strange situation. A lot of teams are not practicing. They put their programs on hold or put them on pause. So we're kind of waiting to do some things, but I plan on getting those rolling next week. So definitely a great segment. Mike Deanna and the people over at Century 21 Deanna Realty. We thank them for loving that event. My favorite move, one of our most popular events. We're going to be bringing that back for a third straight season. But we do want to talk about the one event that has happened so far, and that was the Vermillion opening weekend duels. As many of you may have heard on the weekly radio show, if you haven't, that's available on WL's website. Please go to WL's website and check out the first couple episodes. The first one was a kind of a recap of the coaches show we did at the Brew Kettle a couple weeks ago, back on November 30th. Go back and check that out. It's a great show, 3 hours long. We talked about pretty much every coach or every program in the county, and we did kind of a recap of that the first week. And then Rocco and I talked with Brandon Gilbert of Vermillion about this weekend opening duels. Vermillion was scheduled, like many of the county teams, to compete in the Cobus Insurance Classic at Avon Lake for the opening weekend. The Southwestern Conference did kind of shut down all its sports programs, so Avon Lake had to postpone that event to hopefully later in the season. So Vermillion kind of threw together a quick 6-team duel session. It was great. You can learn more about how and why on that radio show. But we wanted to talk about Vermillion and how they did in that. They actually shared the event championship with Bay. Both teams went 4-1. Vermillion met each team in the event and kind of went 4 straight, and then end up losing in the finale against Middlefield Cardinal. But they opened with a 54-18 win over Port Clinton. Then they won 36-33, a tight matchup with Marengo Highland. Then they beat Normandy 48-15. Another tight dual meet against Bay. They won 36-30, and then they eventually lost 33-30. Super close dual meet against Middlefield Cardinal. Some of the Sailors wrestlers who had really great weekends. Lewis Strauman, he's a sophomore at 106. Or Strama, sorry, at 106 and 113, went 5-0 with 3 pins. Aiden Miller, sophomore at 132, 138, 5-0 with 5 pins. Owen Greer, junior at 182 pounds, 5-0 with 4 pins. Chris Bennett, who's ranked number 13 in the state and Division II right now, he's a senior at 195 pounds, went 5-0. Had a big matchup with Cardinal in that final dual meet. Jerry Rose, a senior who's ranked number 3 in Division III, number 6 in Division III in the most latest rankings, and kind of dominated him from everything Coach Gilbert said. Other winning records for Vermillion: Drake Shaw, a senior at 220 and 285 pounds, went 4-1 with 3 pins. Creston Shaw, a sophomore at 120 and 132, went 2-0. Malachi Howell, a sophomore at 138 and 145, went 3-1. Ryan Colazar, a freshman at 138 and 145, went 2-0. Joey Serfozo, senior at 126 and 132, went 2-1. And Michael Brass, a sophomore at 152 and 160, went 3-2. So obviously a very good weekend for Vermillion as a team. A lot of those individuals had great weekends. The Sailors are the only team that will be competing again this week. The coach again talked about some of the events they're doing in December. Good luck to those guys going forward. And it's great to see that we got somebody in Lorain County out on the mats. Everybody else is kind of still in this pause mode. Lorain has gone so far to pause all the way through December into the new year. Most of the programs, Southwestern Conference programs, Lorain County League, which makes up the bulk of our coverage area teams, have paused at least through this week. So hopefully, maybe some of them will be able to get things started if it's deemed safe. Obviously, it's a tough situation for people to get ready to put, especially a wrestling tournament, to get everything ready and everything going. So that's what we're kind of hoping at this point, is that people are able to kind of do it, but do it safely. The other thing we're going to talk about in this first segment is kind of the preseason state rankings, or now actually probably the season rankings, because we're, like I said, a couple weeks in. But wanted to go through some of the rankings, and we'll start in Division One, where no surprise, Elyria has some of the top guys in the state, and a handful of guys ranked in the state right now. And all these rankings are now done by Borofan. I believe Billy Schaefer is the guy who kind of runs that website and has been doing these rankings for a while. So we obviously thank him for in a very difficult season to be doing rankings with all the events, shutting down, kind of putting these rankings together. So some of the Elyria guys off the top, Colin Noel, 113 pounds. He's ranked number 8 in the state. He was a state qualifier last year as a senior, or as a junior. He's a senior this year. Peyton Fenton, a junior for Elyria, at 120 pounds, is ranked number 2 in the state right now. He's a 2-time state qualifier. Was a state champion as a freshman. He's a Virginia commit, recently committed. Connor Burris, a transfer from Hubbard, is a senior at Elyria now. He's ranked number 15 at 132 pounds, 3-time district qualifier in Division II. Nate Burnett, the son of Eric Burnett, the Elyria coach, is ranked number 1 at 145 pounds. He's a junior, 2-time state qualifier, state placer. He is going to follow his father's footsteps and go to Clarion University in Pennsylvania. Projected state champion right there, and two finalists so far projected for Elyria going down the ranks. Then you got Eric Trinsky, who's a sophomore. He's ranked number 18 at 152 pounds for Elyria. Enrique Munguia, he's a 2-time state qualifier and was a state runner-up a couple years ago. He's a senior. He's ranked number 3 at 160 pounds, a very, very tough weight in Division I. He's recently committed to Kent State. Brandy Crawford at 170 pounds is ranked number 6 in the state. And then Jake Evans, a senior at 182 pounds, another number 1 ranked wrestler in the state. So Elyria is projected to win at least 2 state titles, have 3 state finalists. Evans is a 3-time state qualifier, state placer, recently committed to Indiana. So some really high-level guys pumping that Elyria program out. Some of the other Division I guys off the top, running down, Ty Doherty from Avon, a junior, ranked number 10 in the state at 113 pounds. He was a state alternate last year. Santino Humphrey, a sophomore who was a district placer last year, is number 18 at 120 pounds. Cale Saxton, 2-time state qualifier and a state placer, who just recently committed to the University of Chicago. We obviously want to give him congrats for that. He's ranked number 5 at 132 pounds. Cade Robertson, another Avon wrestler, is a senior. He's ranked number 15 at 152 pounds. And Mason Bingham, another Avon wrestler, a senior. He's a state qualifier last year. He's ranked number 10 at heavyweight. A couple of the Division II guys that are ranked in the state. Ruben Pina Lorenzano from Firelands is a sophomore. He's ranked number 6 at 106 pounds. He was a district placer last year. Tristan Green, Keystone, our lone freshman in Lorain County, ranked number 14 at 132 pounds, which is pretty impressive for a freshman. They're usually high level down at the lower weight. So he's ranked 14 in the state in the middle of those weight classes. He was a middle school district runner-up last year before maybe would have made some noise at the middle school state tournament, but just like everybody else, got shut down because of coronavirus. Nick Hickman from Keystone, he's a senior at 182 pounds. He was a state qualifier last year, ranked number 6 in the state. Chris Bennett from Vermillion, as we mentioned earlier, number 13 at 195. He was a district qualifier last year. And Luke Moore, senior heavyweight at Keystone, is ranked number 14 in the state. 2 Division III wrestlers ranked. Cole Schulke from Columbia is a sophomore. He's a district placer last year. He's ranked number 17 at 106 pounds. And Jeremiah McKee, a state qualifier from Wellington. He's a junior this year, number 6 at 132 pounds. So just wanted to kind of, get this first one under the belt, let you guys know kind of what's going on as we go into the season. Hopefully next week we'll have some more content. I'll be talking to coaches, wrestlers, fans, kind of finding out what you guys want this year. We had a great time last year with guests and things like that. Not going to be able to do that probably this year, but we're going to try to make this as fun and interesting for you guys as we can. So that'll wrap it up for this week. Again, we want to thank all the sponsors, Cobus Insurance Center, the naming sponsor. We want to thank My Favorite Move segment sponsor, Century 21, Deanna Realty. And obviously, we want to thank WL for putting the show on as well as they do every year. And to my former co-host for all those years who kind of started this whole thing with me, Tim Alcorn. Recently saw on Twitter that he and his wife, Diane, have tested positive for coronavirus. We want to wish them a speedy recovery. They got this whole thing started with me. We want to definitely see them get through this as quick as possible. So again, thanks for everybody tuning in, and we'll see you next week.